Picture this. Entire regions of America where the lights are going out one by one. Where hospitals lock their doors forever. Where schools become empty shells. And where hope itself becomes a luxury most can't afford. This isn't some dystopian fantasy. It's happening right now in real time across multiple U.S. states. While politicians debate and economists theorize, millions of Americans are right now living on the razor's edge of financial catastrophe. Some states are already showing the fractures that could split wide open when the next economic earthquake hits. And trust me, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 10 states most likely to experience complete economic meltdown when the next recession strikes. These aren't just regions that are struggling, they're financial houses of cards waiting for the slightest wind to knock them down. Are you ready to find out if your state made the list? Number 10, Illinois, the pension time bomb. Walk through downtown Chicago, you'll see gleaming skyscrapers, but dig beneath that facade and you'll discover one of America's most dangerous financial disasters waiting to explode. Illinois is sitting on a pension crisis so massive it defies comprehension. The state's retirement systems are underfunded by approximately $139 billion. That's roughly $11,000 for every single resident, including newborn babies. The state's credit rating has been hovering just about junk status for years. Moody's has repeatedly warned that Illinois faces the worst pension crisis in America. When economic crisis hits, the state won't struggle. Illinois will implode under promises it cannot keep. The exodus is already underway. In 2024, Illinois lost over 83,000 residents, families fleeing a sinking ship. Property taxes continue climbing to fund unfunded liabilities, creating a vicious cycle where the people who can afford to leave are doing exactly that. When the next recession arrives, Illinois won't have the luxury of gradual decline. Number 9. Hawaii, paradise lost. Imagine living on a tropical island, but being unable to afford the prices. That's the harsh reality facing hundreds of thousands of Hawaii residents today. Hawaii's tourism-dependent economy experienced a harsh reality check during the pandemic. In 2024, visitor arrivals remain 15% below pre-pandemic levels, while the cost of living has skyrocketed beyond what locals can manage. The median home price in Hawaii now exceeds $850,000, while median household income sits at just $88,000. That means the average family would need to save every penny for nearly 10 years just to afford a down payment. Isolation makes Hawaii economically fragile. When global supply chains are disrupted, Hawaii feels it immediately. Milk costs over $6. Gasoline regularly tops $5 per gallon. Basic necessities cost double mainland prices. Native Hawaiians are being forced to leave their ancestral home in record numbers, priced out by wealthy investors and vacation rental properties. When economic storms hit the mainland, Hawaii gets hit the hardest. Number 8, Louisiana, sinking while standing still. Louisiana isn't just physically sinking into the Gulf, its economy is drowning too. This state's reliance on volatile energy markets has created a boom-bust cycle that leaves residents perpetually on edge. Louisiana's poverty rate remains above 19%, ranking among the worst nationally. The state's public systems are literally falling apart. The American Society of Civil Engineers gave Louisiana's infrastructure a D+ grade, with over 1,500 bridges rated as structurally deficient. Natural disasters compound every problem. Hurricane Ida alone caused over $75 billion in damage, money the state simply doesn't have. Each storm season brings possibility of another shock to the state's already fragile economy. Over 70% of LSU graduates leave the state within 5 years. They're not just losing people, they're losing their future. Energy prices fluctuate wildly, and when they crash, Louisiana's economy follows. Number 7. Nevada. All chips on black. Las Vegas glitters like a jewel in the desert, but Nevada's economy is essentially one giant casino bet, and the house doesn't always win. Nevada's unemployment rate remains very volatile, jumping from 3.6% to over 4.2% in just the past year. But here's the real concern. Nearly 30% of the entire workforce depends on tourism and hospitality. When people stop traveling, Nevada doesn't just slow down, it crashes. The housing market tells an even scarier story. Nevada experienced the second highest foreclosure rate in America during the last recession, and warning signs are flashing again. Housing prices have increased 40% since 2020, pushing home ownership out of reach for most working families. Outside of Las Vegas and Reno, vast portions of Nevada remain economically desolate. Rural counties struggle with basic services, limited healthcare access, and shrinking populations. The state's budget depends heavily on tourism taxes and gambling revenue, sources that are highly volatile and can decline sharply during economic downturns. Nevada's economy is like a high-stakes poker game where they've bet everything on a single hand, and when that hand fails, the consequences are catastrophic. Number 6. Kentucky, forgotten in the mountains. Kentucky exemplifies what happens when entire industries disappear and nothing rises to replace them. The coal industry has shed over 60% of its jobs since 2010. Kentucky ranks 47th nationally in median household income, with nearly 17% living below the poverty line. In Appalachian counties, that number soars above 25%. Healthcare access has become a crisis. Kentucky has lost 12 rural hospitals since 2010. For residents in remote areas, emergency medical care might be over an hour away. The opioid epidemic hit Kentucky harder than almost anywhere else. The state's overdose death rate remains among America's highest, devastating families and draining resources from struggling communities. Young people either leave for better opportunities or remain trapped in economically depressed areas. Kentucky's workforce participation rate sits below the national average, with many adults effectively giving up on finding any meaningful employment at all. Number 5. Arkansas, silent struggle. Arkansas flies under the radar because its problems develop slowly and quietly. But beneath the surface, this state faces challenges that could overwhelm its limited resources during recession. Arkansas ranks among the bottom 10 states for median household income. The state's rural areas face particular hardships: limited broadband access, declining agricultural profits, and vanishing small-town businesses. Manufacturing jobs continue disappearing as companies relocate to countries with cheaper labor costs. Walmart, Arkansas's largest private employer, has been cutting costs and automating operations. Healthcare access remains problematic in rural counties where residents might drive 50 miles to see a doctor. This state is one of America's highest uninsured rates, creating situations where medical emergencies trigger personal bankruptcies. Arkansas' state budget operates with minimal reserves. The state heavily depends on federal funding for essential services, making it vulnerable to changes in federal spending priorities. Number 4. Alabama. Foundation cracking. Alabama presents a puzzle, rich in natural beauty and cultural heritage, but persistently struggling with economic fundamentals that keep it near the bottom of national rankings. Alabama ranks 46th in median household income, with poverty approaching 16%. But income statistics only scratch the surface of deeper structural problems. The state's education system consistently ranks among America's worst. Low graduation rates, underfunded schools, and limited higher education opportunities create workforces unprepared for modern economic demands. Educated young people routinely leave Alabama for better opportunities elsewhere. The infrastructure presents mounting challenges as well. Alabama's infrastructure rated D+, with urgent needs for road repairs and bridge replacements. Rural areas suffer from inadequate broadband access, limiting business development. Alabama refused Medicaid expansion, leaving hundreds of thousands without affordable health care. Rural hospitals continue closing, creating healthcare deserts where emergency services might be many hours away. Number 3. Michigan. Rust never sleeps. Michigan thought it had turned the corner after the auto industry collapse of 2008-2009. But recent economic indicators suggest the recovery was more fragile than anyone realized. Despite automotive industry improvements, Michigan faces persistent challenges. The state recorded the highest percentage of financially distressed residents in 2024. Over 40% of adults struggle with overdue bills, defaulted loans, or bankruptcy proceedings. Geographic inequality defines Michigan's struggle. While cities like Ann Arbor and Grand Rapids show signs of growth, vast regions remain economically depressed. Detroit's revitalization efforts haven't reached most neighborhoods, where poverty rates exceed 30%. Manufacturing remains vulnerable to global economic shifts. Trade disruptions, supply chain problems, or reduced consumer spending could trigger massive layoffs across the automotive sector. The state's economy still depends too heavily on industries susceptible to rapid change. Population loss continues plaguing many Michigan communities. Over 100,000 residents left the state between 2020 and 2024, taking their tax contributions and consumer spending with them. Infrastructure challenges persist throughout the state. Michigan's roads rank among the worst in America, and water systems problems extend far beyond Flint's well-publicized crisis. Number 2. Mississippi. Perpetual struggle. Mississippi holds the unfortunate distinction of ranking last in virtually every positive economic indicator. This isn't temporary hardship, it's entrenched systemic poverty. Mississippi's median household income remains America's lowest, at approximately $48,000. Nearly 20% of Mississippi citizens live below poverty level, with some rural counties exceeding 35%. Only 56% of working-age adults participate in the labor force, and that's America's lowest rate. This suggests widespread despair, where people in Mississippi have given up seeking employment. Mississippi consistently ranks last in national education assessments. Healthcare access approaches crisis levels, with highest infant mortality and lowest life expectancy. And here is number 1, West Virginia, the canary in the coal mine. West Virginia represents what complete economic collapse looks like in slow motion. This state never recovered from previous economic downturns going back decades. Only 54% of working-age West Virginia adults are employed or seeking work. Nearly half the adult population has dropped out of the economy entirely. West Virginia lost over 100,000 residents since 2010, a 6% population decrease. Young people graduate and immediately leave the state, leaving behind an aging population with very limited prospects. West Virginia leads America in overdose death rates. The coal industry collapse eliminated 75% of mining jobs since 2010, with nothing replacing them. Former mining communities now resemble ghost towns. So, ladies and gentlemen, the perfect storm approaches. These 10 states share common vulnerabilities: overdependence on single industries, inadequate economic diversification, crumbling infrastructure, declining populations, and limited financial reserves. They're not just struggling, they're hanging by threads that could snap when economic pressures intensify. The warning signs are everywhere: rising poverty rates, declining workforce participation, population exodus, infrastructure decay, and budget crises. These states entered the last recession weakened and never fully recovered. They won't survive the next economic downturn intact. Economic collapse doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process where services disappear, opportunities vanish, and hope dies slowly. But when the final trigger comes, whether it's a financial crisis, natural disaster, or global economic shock, these states will experience rapid, devastating decline. The question isn't whether these states will face serious economic problems, it's whether they'll maintain basic governmental functions and basic essential services when the next crisis hits. Listen, if you live in one of these states, the time for preparation is now, and I mean now. Because when economic storms strike, these regions won't just weather difficult times, they'll face fundamental questions about their ability to survive as functioning economic entities. The countdown has already begun. The only question remaining is which state will be the first to fall when the foundation finally gives way. Stay alert, stay informed, and remember, in times like these, knowledge isn't just power, it's survival. Please pass the link to this video to friends and family, particularly those in the states we've mentioned today. Subscribe to Epic Economist, and thank you very much for watching.